All right, welcome back to my channel, Fear the Northman. I'm excited. I am a little late. It's Saturday. The Get to Know the Northman episode is supposed to be on Friday, but whatever. I was actually really struggling with what I should do. I was thinking about talking about comedy, but a friend of mine who has a great job in traveling sales was able to pick up some really exciting bottles. So I said, well, let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is bourbon. The bourbon that I'm drinking right now is the wonderful, Weller 107. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. It's fantastic. I'm a huge fan of bourbon. I got turned on to it by a friend of mine. And I've always liked whiskey. I was always a whiskey and Coke or whiskey and Sprite guy, so always enjoyed it. But as far as just drinking bourbon straight, it's been the last couple of years that I've really gotten into it. I'm by no means someone that has really a developed palate for it. I just know what I like. It is amazing to me how you can smell this stuff and you can get caramel and vanilla, all these really amazing colors and notes that are going on within the bourbon. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's crazy. I like to drink my whiskey with ice. I always feel like a douche saying on the rocks, so I like to drink with ice, but it's hard to get really the flavors that are naturally out of it. Actually, what got my good friend into bourbon, if you can see it, I don't know, is Bulleit. I'm a big fan of Bulleit. We're going to talk about that as well, but I drink my whiskey on ice. I got a cup here waiting, but I wanted to take a shot of this or take a sip of this first and give you guys a good preview here. This is Weller 107. I also have the Weller Special Reserve, which is the entry level Weller. It is a wheated bourbon. It's fantastic. Maker's Mark is also wheated, also fantastic. So right away you can get, with no ice, you can get the caramel and the vanilla. I mean, that's what I get anyways. It's aged enough where the back end is really mild. A young whiskey, a young bourbon, a lot of times on the back end, it's like the aftertaste of it can feel very, violent's the wrong word, but very, very busy. Just a lot going on. This is really smooth. It's absolutely fantastic. It's hard to come by, which is why I wanted to make the video about it. Again, my friend who's a traveling salesman found a honey hole in Ohio where they just had bottles and bottles of this stuff. And it's great. I am going to be reviewing my absolute favorite whiskey. Also got turned on to that by my good friend who got started with Bulleit. It's Eagle Rare. I can't wait to review that. It's by far for the money the best whiskey you can buy. But this Weller 107 is just absolutely fantastic. It's just so good. If you want to get into whiskey, I would encourage you to start with Tennessee whiskey, Jack Daniels. I've been drinking bourbon now for a while, and you know, there's hotter levels of bourbon, higher proofs. Grandad 114 is a great bourbon, but it's pretty hot. Now, Jack Daniels for me straight, especially on ice, it's like drinking a bitter tea. So if you want to get into whiskey, start with Tennessee whiskey. It tends to be a little softer, a little sweeter. Not that it can't be a high proof one either, but bourbon in general tends to be, in my opinion, a little more, it tastes better for me, but I feel that it's a little more robust than, say, Jack Daniels, just the traditional bottle. Oh, yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Hold on one second. I'm going to get my other glass here. We're just going to dump this in. It's my saliva anyways. Who cares? But this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is the good life. You just come home after a hard day at work. With the ice, it opens up even more, typically, and or it rounds it out. So if it's really hot, you can drink something with ice, and it'll round it out a little bit to where it's not as potent. I mean, it's still potent, but wow, that's just so good, man. I'm so excited I have a bottle of that. Anyways, This is going to be kind of weird what I'm going to talk about, but the health benefits of whiskey are actually really surprising when you compare them, or compare it, to other alcohol beverages you can drink. If you are someone that likes to drink, I would encourage you to drink only liquor or types of liquor. So that's vodka, gin, tequila, whiskey, or bourbon. Beer is terrible for you. Wine isn't good for you either. All of these White Claw type seltzers, all that stuff, none of it's good for you. I think vodka's even keto. I think vodka is ketogen. So if you're doing the keto diet, you can drink vodka and you're still within the realm of ketosis, if I said that right. But although whiskey is far more higher proof in alcohol than, say, beer or wine, it's actually way better for you to drink. You end up drinking less, and it tastes better, and it's really better on your body than beer. Many times people drink a lot of beer. We're drinking cheap beer. Even the more expensive beer has a lot going on in it. A lot of carbs, a lot of bad stuff that just puts on the fat, which causes problems down the road. So does wine. So I would encourage you, if you are going to drink liquor, vodka, tequila, whiskey, and or gin, whiskey, bourbon, whatever. That's really those are the better options in my opinion. But I just love this Weller. It's so good. Guys, I'm telling you, if you get a chance, drink some Weller. There's a couple different bottles. They are hard to come by. If you can find the green label, which is the entry level, go ahead and buy that. You may have a hard time finding the Weller 107 and the other subsequent Wellers above this. The Weller Full Proof, which I think it's the blue or purple. I think it's the blue label. I saw it at a liquor store for $500. So it can also get pretty expensive. But if you can pick a bottle up of the green label, do it. It's absolutely fantastic. I love bourbon, guys. I'm doing this whole month on bourbon for Get to Know the Northman on Fridays. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. Bourbon and metal are two of my favorite subjects. One of these days I'll do a subject on heavy metal if I haven't. I know I did something on music, but I didn't do heavy metal. Anyways, we'll figure that out. I wanted to start this month's episode, though, with, this month's series with bourbon. I can't wait to do Eagle. I can't wait to talk about Bullet. Some of my favorite whiskeys. It's fantastic. I'll show you guys my collection at some point too, and I'm also getting a special custom whiskey cabinet for my corner here that I can't wait to get put in. It's still being built, but when it's finished, it's going to be fantastic. Anyhow, this has been the Get to Know the Northman segment for this month on bourbon. We're starting with Weller 107. I'm treating you guys like the wonderful ladies you are. You guys are fantastic. Showing you a real treat with Weller 107. If you like the content, like, share, subscribe. If you hated it, send it to someone you hate.